Hey campers, Georgia, back in the man cave. If you're wondering where I've been and why I've been so erratic with videos, well, got a story to tell you. I got some updates, some issues, did some projects. Hey, let's check them out. What I was talking about is right now I'm in the middle, you can see I'm editing a video. Yesterday I went and saw Keith and he pulled out his awesome buck collection of both folding and fixed blade knives. We sat there for an hour or so talking about them, looking at them. Unbelievable. Came back, loaded it up, edited it, went to export it. Won't export. The past week, I've been dealing with this issue. 2 other videos that I'm having the same problem. I managed to get one video out and you saw that. I don't know what the problem is. It'll do one video but not the other, and I'm doing them all the same way. So I'm kind of stuck with that. That's where I am right now. Tomorrow I'll be calling the support for this and see what they say. I suspect it may be my actual computer. That video was an hour long. The other one was probably 40 minutes long. And I think it's a memory issue or something like that with my computer that just can't handle that much data and importing it into the computer from the program. I've done about 5 projects. And I'm hoping this video is going to come out. I haven't even edited it yet, and I'm talking to you like it has. So we hope and pray. In this video, I wanted to update you, but I thought I'd show you something else as well. Just something that I did while I was waiting, working on another project and waiting for glue to dry. And I had scrap leather lying around, and I thought, what can I do with my scrap leather and just, instead of just throwing it away? So before we go to that little leather thing, I'll just show you some of the projects that I've worked on and have the video for that I can't get to work. This one, I chose 3 knives and I wanted to do something, clean them up and everything. Here are the 3 knives, and they're all 3 are kind of unique. There's this one here, which I found at an antique mall. I can't even remember what I paid for it. It wasn't very much. And it's just a great, look how thin it is, little pen knife. And it has this steel handle on it. And it was dirty and needed to be cleaned up. So I polished it up, sharpened the blade and everything. And the unusual thing about it was the tang stamp here. And you can see it says ik.co, USA. Had no idea who that was until I thought about it, and it's Imperial Knife Company. This is an old guy. Can't actually date it because they have a couple of tang stamps like this, and hopefully when the movie comes out, I'll explain that to you. I'm trying to be positive. But just a wonderful little knife. I've had it in my pocket the past couple of days, hardly even feel it, and it works great. So unusual one there. This one here is actually a camper that the cover was kind of beat up and it was plain black and scratched and had a paint on it and all sorts of things. And it needed a good cleanup. So I did that and got to read up on this particular one. I'm sure you probably guessed by now. It is a colonial. You can see there. One of their very popular campers that they made. When I say popular, everybody had one because they were so inexpensive and nobody cared if they broke them or anything. They just bought another one. So there's a lot of them out there, and you can tell by that. See that? Great little badge. And it says Forest Master. It's basically a copy of the Imperial Camp King. It's a little fatter and that sort of thing. Dime a dozen these things, and I thought if I'm going to keep it, I want to make it mine. So I cleaned it all up and put this green on the handle, you can see there, and just cleaned it up, shined it up, and it's a little different. Now, they did make some with other handles that were different colors. You can probably find them, but great little project. This one was one of those where, you know, that huge company that nobody knows who it is, made in America. I have my suspicions as to who made it, but I'm not sure. So I'm stuck with where it goes and which manufacturer. I'm hoping maybe you guys will know. And you can tell me quickly. I'm not gonna, same thing again. I had to do a lot of cleanup on it. It was in pretty good shape, but that had the black jig bone handles where it's that plastic or whatever it is that shrinks, and it had shrunk and it was starting to peel off and everything. So I tore that off and I put some of that impregnated wood on. I chose these colors, and it doesn't show up very well right now. It had this badge on the other handle. I took that off and put it on, and it says camp knife, but I like the way it came out. But a nice project, worked out fine. Can't load the video. The other thing that happened was my friend Travis and his wife Laura. Before Travis, I've known and Laura for years and years and years, my best friends. We're cleaning up in their house. They are now empty nesters. And they came across two things. The first thing was Laura found this. And it's actually an official Boy Scout knife. And it was kind of beat up, dirty, scratched, that thing. Actually belongs to their son. He was a Boy Scout. They had bought it for him a couple of years ago. And they found it. And it's a pretty cool knife, but it was very interesting. I asked them where they got it. And Laura and Travis both said from the official Boy Scouts website. And you can see the tang stamp. It says stainless, China. And it does say on there, I don't know if you can see that, official knife, Boy Scout. Didn't know that the Boy Scouts were doing that. It's made in China. It's actually a very nice knife. The springs on this are brutal. They really, look at this. It snaps like crazy, but it's in pretty good condition. And it was unusual. And I said to Travis, how much did you pay for it? And he said, way too much. I think he said like $80 for an official Boy Scout knife made in China from the official Boy Scout website. Thought that was interesting. Anyway, they gave it to me, asked me if I could clean them up. So I did, and you saw this just needed a really good polish. It was dirty, a couple of scratches on the handles and that, and I just polished them up, and very nice. The other knife was interesting. Travis said, my dad gave me a knife that belonged to his dad. It's his grandfather's knife, and it was his grandfather's fishing knife. And the sheath was just, when I found out what it was, actually from the 1960s to 65 era. And it's this guy here. And you can see the sheath. I've cleaned up the sheath, cleaned it all up, and then used neat's foot to bring the leather back to life. And you can see it there, and it's very cool sheath. It's the original sheath, and here's the knife. Interesting, the handle I thought was light blue, and the paint had rubbed off. It wasn't. It's when this gets old, this material, and this is pretty cool material. I don't know what it is. It's like a hard plastic. Turns light blue. It's kind of like a rust for it. And it's a stainless steel knife. And it had a little rust on it, so it was pitted. I got rid of most of it, cleaned it up, and gave it a really nice edge. And this thing produced a great edge. I was really surprised. And then I looked at the tang stamp. Case XX, USA. When I looked it up, they said, 60 to 65. Beautiful knife. Great knife in really good condition. Very nice. And it cleaned up nicely. So thought I'd show you that. I did the video on it. And when I tried to load it, everything, I lost all the raw data. So I thought I'd show it to you. I might make a short before I take them back. But they both cleaned up really nice projects. I'm working on another project with a couple of campers. I'm hoping that's going to work. I just got to finish it up. It was included, I think the title is Refurbish, Repair, Rehandle. And that's what I did to the 3 knives. So there you go. You're up to date. You know what's going on. Let's check out my little scrap leather video. So the other day when I was at Keith's, he gave me some leather. And this was in there. It was originally designed to be one of those old belts that they used in the way back. Trappers and that had those big wide belts. I couldn't think what I could use it for. It's a little heavy for a slip. And I thought, what do you do with your scrap leather? And then I thought, well, there's a couple of things you can do. Let's do one right now. Now I have this, and it's basically what I call my bow tie fob template. It's for a really small fob. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger this time. So I'm just going to do this. Give me an outline. I'm doing this because I'm waiting for things to dry and whatnot. So, you know the normal story. Waiting on projects. And then I just cut it out. I'm going to fold it in half. I ran down to Walmart and picked these up. They're basically just 10, they're called 10 key ring pieces. So I'm just going to cut this out really quickly and then we'll trim it down. What you should do is make yourself a template. I just made it out of plastic. Trim it up so that it's pretty good. And then you can just use it every time you want to make one with your scrap. Now you can always clean it up afterwards. I'm being very rough here. You want to be a little bit better than that. And what you're going to do is that. And make yourself a little fob for your car keys, house keys, work keys, whatever keys. And what I do is I'll put this in here. You don't have to because this is a split ring, so you can put your keys on it. But you're going to glue this down. And I put stitching across here just to help hold it in. And it makes a really simple project where you can make patterns on it, do them different colors using scrap leather and kind of make something like this. See that? This was the first one I ever made. I just did it really quickly, put my little logo on it, threw a key on there. This is the key to my PO box, so I have a little fob. And I'm not wasting the leather. It seems every time I buy leather, it gets more expensive. So there's that. This is a way to do it. So I'm just going to carry on, finish it up. you want to get that glue all around the edge, along the edge, so that it doesn't peel. If you're going to use this stuff, the thing I like about it is it actually works well on leather because it really sinks into it. But it's instant when you put it on. It's glued already in a very short time. So now I've got my little 2CG stamp. Can put it on here, just like that, and I'll put it in the vise. Now before you do it, you're going to want to dampen your leather. I don't know if this leather is going to work. I've never done it on this leather, but we're about to find out. I'm just going to leave it like that for a while. I'm not sure how well this leather is going to work because I want to say it's more of a buckskin and it might not take that stamp very well, but we're about to find out. Huh. Wow. It worked. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so now we've got a stampy on it, and we've got our ring on there for the key. Now I like, because it's just glue, you don't want it to come apart. So a cool thing to do is maybe put some stitching around the bottom, just like I did on this one, which just holds it together. Mary, being the boss, safety manager, the boss, quality control, financial advisor, came up with this idea of using scrap leather. She said, I'm spending too much of her food money on scrap leather. Because I trimmed it with a knife, it's not really round. You got these little corners on here. And I found that if I get some 80 grip sandpaper and I rub it, you're actually sanding the leather down and it rounds it off better. You can actually make it look a little smoother. Now it looks furry, but I'm going to be edging this off again with when I put some color on this. But if you have that sharp edge that you want to get rid of it, you can use a tool like this. And you just run it across there, and it actually will peel off the edge and round it off. I'm not too worried about that because when I put this stuff on and rub it, it rounds it off and cleans it up. I think I'm going to put some color on this, kind of boring like that, and we got a stitch. But I'm going to do the color first. So I like to paint it now while I have the chance. And if you look, leather is self-healing. It tries to heal itself. Remember how definitive this was when I pressed it in? It's starting to try and fix itself, so it's not as deep as before. I'm going to put some paint on here, well, leather dye, to the colors I want and just fancy it up a little bit. I'm not going to do a lot to it. I just want to bring out the stamp a little bit, and I'm going to edge it on here just to give it some definition. Wow, look how that soaks in on the edges. Huh. Wow. This is that almost buckskin I'm talking about. Huh, kind of like the way that soaked in. Wow. Okay, so now I want to bring the definition out on my stamp. And the way that soaks, I'm not going to have to put very much on. We'll let that dry. I might want to put a little bit more on the sides here though. We'll see. Okay, I'll let it dry And now I'm going to put this on, and this is just burnishing gum. You can get it on Amazon or anything like that. You can use beeswax, things like that, just to edge this off. You see how sharp everything is on the edges? Put this on. With gloves. And you just let it sit for a minute or two. It'll soak in. And I'm just going to take my burnishing tool and rub the edges here. Just like this. You don't really have to rub very hard. And you can add some later or anytime you want to and just clean them up. And it just makes it look a little cleaner on the edging. And like I said, beeswax will work. You remember how furry it was from when I rubbed it with the sandpaper? It takes that away and gives it a bit. It actually gives it a old school look. It looks like it's been worn and used in. So you can see there. And then you can put a key on it. I just got to find a key. So obviously before I found some, these are my spare truck keys. Before you do that, you want to remember we want to stitch here. You can use this tool to mark your line for your stitch line. And I'm going to start at the top here and go all the way around. And this is going to be, this leather is not going to mark easy, but hopefully it'll stay that way long enough for me to mark the leather. Okay, I've got a kind of sort of line there. This is going to be interesting because remember how quickly this healed. Now, you can stitch all the way around if you want. I just found that just going around the bottom here is enough. Ooh. You don't have to go all the way around. You could just do the bottom. You could start up here and finish over here. If you use your stitching carefully, you can make nice patterns with it. So now I'm just going to quickly drill the holes. I found that using this, it's very vertical. When I was trying to drill by hand or punch through, my hand would do this when I was punching. It would look straight here, but would be crooked on the back. So this way, it's straight every time as long as you keep this flat. So we got the holes drilled. Now, you could use the same color thread to hide it in the black. Different colored threads, all sorts of things. Spare thread, scrap thread. And just stitch around there and it gives it some character. Plus it'll keep this together. A saddle stitch would be ideal. I'm not going to use a saddle stitch. I'm going to use a really bright, different colored thread, and I'm not going to do a saddle stitch. I'm just going to serpentine through. And I've got some really white thread that's almost done, so I can use that. Nice and simple, really just a way to, instead of throwing away your leather and other stuff, remember you can do little things like this. And you know what? Come Christmas time, you make 5 of these for your family and you maybe put their names on them or whatever, and they have a set of keys. So there you are. A quick update. I went through the a couple of projects. I'm hoping I can still save those videos. I think I still have the raw data for all of them. So if they can solve my problem, I can then get them up and I'll actually have a bunch of videos for you. One of those things, I apologize, working on it. Just, bear with me. I'm going to see if I can put some shorts out, probably on the projects that I just showed you, and at least have something for you to look at if you want to. Once again, appreciate your support, and sorry about this mess, but hopefully we'll have it sorted out by tomorrow, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.